Hey guys, this is an updated mechanic task guide for Psycho Sniper, and because of the changes made to this task during patch 13.5, in my opinion it made it one of, if not the hardest tasks in the game to complete for Kappa, so I definitely wanted to get an updated guide out for you all. So before we can get into the guide, I will tell you guys some important things to know about this task. Firstly, before you can complete the PMC kill portion, you do have to finish the first part of the task, which is to reach your level 10 sniper skill. And that's because even if you do hit the 5 kills in a single life like what they ask you to do, if you are only level 9 sniper skill at the time of completing that part of the task, then it will still fully reset after your next death because the kills do not lock as completed for you, which in my opinion is an infuriating feature of this task. So to actually complete the task, you should hit your level 10 sniper skill first and then try for your PMC kills. And I may as well clarify now that the 5 PMC kills is over a single life and not over a single raid, so as long as you don't end up dying, then you can do it over however many different raids that it takes you to get all 5 of the kills. Another very important thing to note is that you do have to survive an extract from the raid when you have hit your 5th kill, even though you have your level 10 sniper skill and it will pop up as a task completed in the bottom right corner. It again does not lock the subtask as completed, so if you do die on your way to extract after getting the 5th kill, then the task will still fail on you, and then it will force you to restart the 5 kills all over again. And one of the most important things to remember when doing this task is that if you do end up dying while working on the task at any point, then you do have to manually restart the task with Mechanic, so don't forget to go in and select restart the task before loading back into a raid, because it definitely does suck if you do load into a raid, make some progress towards the task, and then you have it not count because you didn't manually restart it. So now that you guys know some of these important factors, then I will move on to the weapons that you can use for this task. So you are going to have to use a bolt action sniper rifle, and there are 7 different main versions of bolt actions for you to choose from in Tarkov. And of those 7 versions, you also have a few variations within themselves that will give you the opportunity to adapt to whatever build that will fit your needs at that time. And the main versions that you can select from are going to be the VPO-215, the Mosin, the SV98, the T5000, the DVL-10, the Remington M700, and also the big boy AXMC Lapua. And one nice thing about this task is that you can use any of the bolt actions that you are comfortable with, and you can also mod them as little or as much as what you want, and you can also wear any additional gear that you want to while working away at this task. So as mentioned, you can go as minimalistic with the bolties like using an iron sight Mosin, or as expensive as possible being the Lapua. But if I had to recommend the most versatile and cost-efficient options for you guys, then it would be throwing a hollow or a Spectre sight on a VPO, as long as you do have some APM ammo in your stash or you are crafting it in your workbench, or you can also throw the same sights on an M700. But if you wanted to spend about 100k more for, in my opinion, the overall best bolt action in the game, then it would probably be the DVL-10. But just remember that if you are leaning towards using the DVL-10 or the M700, that you do have to apply a sight to either one of these just due to the lack of the front or rear sights, so you can't go in and use them as iron sights like you can with the Mosin or the VPO-215. So now we will go over how to complete the kill portion of this task, and basically you will have 3 options for ways that you can approach it. You can go aggressive, passive, or lastly some form of a combination of the two. And the aggressive approach is going to be the most expedited way for you to get this task done in terms of your time, as long as things go well. However, it is basically going to be an all or nothing approach, and I don't care how good that you are at the game, this approach does have an element of luck as well as RNG involved, because the full-on aggressive approach involves going to factory and busting out your 5 kills with whichever bolty that you do prefer to use. And this will either go well for you if you do happen to get a couple of lobbies with naked pistol runners, or on the other hand, it can go very bad if you do run into SEAL Team 6 wearing Altons and Zabrallos and running RPDs. Granted, depending on the ammo that you are using, you can still make it out on top in that situation, but you will have essentially 0 room for error, because a coordinated team that is very kitted and going to factory basically to bully kids with their full autos definitely increases the chance of sending you and your bolty back to the lobby to restart this task over again. But if you do want to attempt this aggressive factory method, it does work better with a friend, since they can face check some things for you and also give you some additional callouts or even flash people for you, and they can also bait players to peek out as you hold an angle. Another tip is that as you progress through your kills, I definitely suggest increasing the protection of your own kit for all of the methods, but especially the aggressive route, because the first time that I attempted this task this wipe, I loaded into factory with 4 kills, and I definitely should have gone in wearing an Alton as well as my best armor. Because believe me when I say that there's nothing worse than being face tapped by a PSO pistol round when you're on your last kill. I would also definitely recommend bringing in the factory emergency exit key so that you do have the option to leave from 3 additional extracts on factory if you do hear some big boy guns going off and you basically just don't want to risk getting mowed down. Another tip is that I would also be hesitant to recommend this method if you were a player that struggled to complete the Tarkov Shooter Part 3 task, which was to use a bolt action to get kills less than 25 meters away, because 99% of your engagements on factory will be within that area. So now moving on to the passive approach, this one is what you can do if you're not in a hurry to get Psycho Sniper done. You can just essentially bring a bolt action in with you with whatever attachments work for you at that time while you are working on other tasks. And then basically once you do have a few kills under your belt, then you do want to lock it in and then be more conscientious of your engagements as well as rotations. This method can be done on basically any map besides factory, but people will oftentimes pick customs or woods or shoreline, but just essentially run whatever map that you are comfortable with and try to pick people off and keep your engagements in your advantage, which will be from mid to long range. And another way that you can tip the odds in your favor is by bringing in a red flare and then baiting it, or even dropping your bag in an open area and hoping that somebody goes to loot it. And although I will never recommend that people extract camp or camp in general, there has been a lot of comments that I've seen on Reddit where people do suggest to watch a car extract, such as on woods or just even extracts in general. Or they do also recommend camping certain task locations like the nothing fishy about it task at the swamp location on shoreline, or even the fishing gear location on shoreline as well. So although I will never recommend that you guys do that, I do realize that people are going to do it anyway, so I may as well mention it here in this guide. Now, alternatively, what you can do is to learn the spawns, or at least have Map Genie up when you do go into raids with the filter for PMC spawns on. So that way, until you do learn the spawns, then you can use this site and maybe get yourself some kills immediately off rip. And it will also doubly help prevent you from dying off the start of a raid. This website is going to be helpful on all the maps, but especially on Interchange, Shoreline, Lighthouse, Streets, and Reserve, where you can spawn and take 20 steps and then already be getting shot at. And in terms of passive or long range sniping, one of the best places that you can go is to woods when Sturman is there, because when he does shoot off his SVD, it's literally like a dinner bell to almost every PMC on the map. So if you do head to the perimeter of the lumber mill and scout for PMCs, usually you are able to pick off 1 to 4 players looking for them. Just remember to keep yourself on the outskirts and mindful of possible lines of sight, because you don't want the tables turned on you, and you also don't want Sturman to get a good visual on you either. Or another option is that you can always go to Fortress area on customs, and as long as the goons and Rashala aren't there, then you can work from Fortress to Big Skelly and get yourself some long lines of sight where you can also get some free kills. And if the power is on, then you can just use the ZB13 extract underneath Fortress just to go and reset. And now onto the method that I would actually recommend to complete this task, which is going to be a combination between aggressive and passive playstyles. And what I mean by that is going to factory for your first 1 to 3 or even 4th kill if you are feeling lucky, and then slowing it down and then doing your last 1 or 2 kills by going to a map that you are comfortable with, where you can slow it down and have more control of your engagements. For example, majority of people are the most comfortable on customs, or even for sniping, a lot of people do prefer to go to woods or shoreline, where the engagements are typically medium to long range. For myself, I would personally go to Interchange to get my final 2 kills, but that's just because I am very familiar with that map, and I do also feel confident in my PvP there after completing all the different PvP tasks that are required on that map. And then another benefit of customs and Interchange is that there is the ability to third-party people with long lines of sight, and then you can easily disengage from fights if the advantage does swing in their favor, and then you can also get hard cover in between yourself and them while you do reposition. But again, that is totally going to be personal preference, and you guys could take it to any map that you did feel gives you an advantage while sniping, and you can also go daytime or nighttime, whichever one that you do feel more comfortable on. And as mentioned earlier, I also recommend that you do adjust your loadout based upon not only the map, but also on the number of kills that you have towards this task. I basically was going into raids naked with a holosight loud bolt action sniper for my first 2 kills, and then I would kit up thicker and thicker, and then essentially was a walking tank status when I was 1 kill away. Because in this game, all it takes is 1 lucky bullet to the face, and then you are restarting. So when you are on your last kill, absolutely wear some form of a face shield. Don't make the same mistake that I did my first run. And when you are in your last kill, then some people do recommend bringing out the Lapua, but I find that the FMJ bullets are very bugged this wipe, and that the ergo is actually horrible on the Lapua. So I would actually say stick with whatever gun that you have been running with. Basically, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, because there is something to be said about comfort and muscle memory when using some weapons as well. So I would say just keep the weapon consistent, and also the handling and shooting will likely be easier for you. So now I will give you guys some tips on how to level up your sniper skill to level 10. So essentially leveling up my sniper skill is something that I actually work away at right from the start of wipe. Basically it will help to prepare for any of the tasks that require a certain level of sniper skill to complete, and then I won't be stuck on those tasks. So some of the ways that you can increase your sniper skill level are to land hits on enemies with a bolt action sniper, which means that the fastest way would be to land as many hits as possible on a scav or player before landing the kill shot. Which does end up sounding morbid, but it will actually give you more sniper skill points than just landing a well-placed single headshot elimination. But in all honesty, I would only recommend going for the extra hit points on scavs, not on PMCs, because you definitely want to eliminate players as fast as possible whenever you do have the chance, just to be safe. Another way to increase your sniper skill is by reloading your sniper rifle, and that's the reason why at the beginning of raids at the start of wipes, then you will see a lot of streamers reloading their bolties for the first couple of minutes of every raid, and they will end up making a pile of bullets in front of themselves until they're done, and then picking up all the ammo and then start about their raid as they normally would. And the reason for this is because each time that they reload, then they do gain towards their sniper skill, and it is something that, although it is monotonous, it's an easy and consistent way to level up an otherwise difficult skill. And something that a lot of players don't actually know about is that by unloading the sniper's chamber, then it will also work similarly to reloading the chamber to increase your sniper skill points. So basically you have to remove the Mosin 5-round magazine when you're not in a raid, because it can only be removed when you're not actively in a raid. Then you want to bring in one bullet with you, and then you can just unload the chamber, which the default keybind for that is going to be R and left control. And then your PMC will catch the bullet when it is ejected and then place it into your inventory. And then you can just hit R to reload, and then the same bullet will continue to rotate in and out of the chamber over and over again. So if you do bring a Mosin in as your secondary, then you can just reload or unload the chamber while you are moving in between map POIs, or while you are killing time by using this chamber unload method. Then it can save you bullets as well as time, and also a bunch of money early wipe. I do also usually run nothing but a Mosin for the first 2 to 3 weeks of a wipe, because as I mentioned earlier, I do start leveling the sniper skill very early on. However, this is going to be horrendous for your overall stats, but I do this just so that I'm not potentially blocked from continuing my task by a skill level. And by chipping away at it right from the start of a wipe, then it will make sure that your life is easier down the road, and there is actually going to be a couple of tasks that will provide you with additional levels to your sniper skill that you should know about, such as Shooterborn in Heaven, which will give you +5 to sniper skill. Also, the Mentor task will give you +3 levels, and the Tarkov Shooter Part 8, which will give you another 3 levels to your sniper skill. Mostly these additional levels will be beneficial when working on this level 10 requirement for Psycho Sniper, as well as the Lightkeeper Make an Impression task, and depending on your progression, even Wet Job Part 6. Now, if you are going for Kappa, then your goal should be to get your sniper skill to a level 3 minimum before turning in any tasks that provide additional sniper skill levels, but I would actually recommend trying to get yourself to a level 4 just to have some wiggle room, especially since you never know how quickly that you will be able to complete Shooterborn or Tarkov Shooter Part 8. So at least this way, if you do have your sniper skill to level 4, then you can turn in Mentor to quickly complete Wet Job Part 6, since it does lead to 2 additional Kappa required tasks, whereas Psycho Sniper is a dead-end task, and even though it is required for Kappa, so is Shooterborn in Heaven as well as Tarkov Shooter Part 8, so you will have to complete them all regardless if Kappa is your goal. And then once you do complete those 2 other tasks, then you will have an additional 8 levels towards your sniper skill, which will stack with the points that you obtain while working towards the tasks in the first place. And just so that you guys know, upgrading your hideout module shooting range to level 3 will give you guys a 10% experience boost to the combat group, which does include your sniper skill. And also building the hideout module Hall of Fame grants a boost to your physical and combat skill groups. But the boost for the Hall of Fame is going to be scaled with the number and level of dog tags of the opposite faction members killed by your PMC and also scav characters. So if you're a USEC, then you will get a boost from placing your highest level bear operative tags in there. And I just wanted to make sure to mention this since it is often overlooked, and any amount of bonus will end up helping to speed things up for you guys. So hopefully you guys found this guide useful and it does help you to complete this task. Thank you guys so much for selecting my guide to watch on this, and I hope that you have a fantastic rest of your day. So what you're seeing on the screen right now is just a couple of my different social links in case you guys wanted to connect more easily. I am primarily streaming on Twitch now multiple nights a week. So if you do want to connect with me or my community, that would probably be the easiest way to do so. And if you do come over to the Twitch and you want to join the Discord community, then just type !Discord or cord in the chat in order to get an invite link. And if you don't use Twitch, then I do have a link in the picture as well as a link below in the description. And we are growing and currently have an active and welcoming community with people of all experience and skill levels. So there will always be someone who could help to answer any questions that you may have. As always, thank you guys so much for stopping by and watching the video, and I hope that you have a fantastic rest of your day.